Frank, here we are in your lovely home in Glasnevin in North County Dublin. Tell us a little bit about your lifestyle, and indeed the home that you live in.
I spent most of my life in education. I was a teacher for the best part of 40 years. All my life it's been somewhere with a blackboard in the background.
Well, what you want then, when you're out and about, whether it's studying or at work, is to come home to a nice warm house that's ready to receive you. That wasn't always the case. Myself,
my late wife, bought this off the map when it was built in 1973. And at the time, it was kind of considered to be state-of-the-art, but in fact, the fabric was quite a problem. There were 9-inch hollow blocks, which you couldn't really insulate. I used to get the boiler serviced every year, but the last time I went to get it serviced, the guy who came out said, "I'm not touching it." Said, "That's so out of date." At that point, it was clear to me that I needed to do something different.
This house is very typical of a lot of suburban houses that were built at exactly that time, the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and indeed the 90s, when nobody was thinking about things like BER ratings or solar panels or anything like that. You got your sunshine in Spain if you were lucky to travel there. How was it prior to getting the work done? Was it very cold, or was it the inconsistency of the temperatures that bothered you the most?
The design of the house itself, they look quite Mediterranean, so in the summer it was grand. And of course, we had an ongoing battle here. I think there's a male-female thing about heat. So I kind of could tolerate, but my poor wife over the years would be looking for the extra blanket or a coat.
Well, I can tell you that's a very real, that's backed up by science, Frank. I think women have colder blood and they need the warmth. But it is difficult to heat and expensive.
The gas bills began to rocket. Obviously, I couldn't persist with the gas system. That prompted me to go and explore what the possibilities were.
So tell me a little bit then about the research that you did. How much did you know about things like grants and insulation and works like that could be done?
I have two friends here in the same estate who had gone down the road of retrofitting and so on like that. So listening to them was the bulk of my research. But when push came to shove, I just went up on the laptop one night, hit the SEAI site and said, okay, this looks like the way I need to go.
When it came then to actually engaging with the work and getting an assessment done, I mean, there is a lot that you have to do to work out what you need. I think you want it to be warmer, but maybe you don't know all the technical details. So was it then presented to you that maybe a one-stop shop arrangement would be best, or did you find that out yourself?
One-stop shop sound like sweetness to me. In the interest of keeping it simple, I opened up the contractors on the SEAI site and I went for the first one. And they held my hand the whole way through.
Now, what happens, I understand, is that they send out an assessor just to see what's needed. Tell me about that first visit.
To me, it was obvious. I mean, if you're going to do the job, you needed to find where you were starting from. When the report came back, that was simply encouragement to proceed with the job that needed to be done.
Did the amount of work, did you find that daunting?
I knew there was kind of fairly major surgery to be done because these are solid concrete floors. So in terms of, say, changing the configuration of the rads and stuff like that, it was going to be fairly invasive. But it happened piecemeal. I mean, first people to come along with the windows people, they were here for about a day and a half, in and out, and you could actually feel the seal after they had come and gone. The contractors, Bayview, promised me about a 5-month run into when the work was going to do. I knew I'd be travelling in the spring of this year, so they said, okay, we'll do the worst of the dirty work while you're out of the house, and that worked. The internal wrapping, you simply lose 2.5 inches of two walls in any given room. So that was done most of the way around the house. There were additional rads and bigger rads fitted in every room in the house, sometimes in places where there was never a rad before. I've got a huge bed of additional insulation in the attic. External insulation to the flat roofed areas the one above the kitchen and the one above the outside bedrooms. That was upgraded hugely.
Now, one of the big projects that the One Stop Shop involved was the heat pump.
Yeah.
Now, how much did you know about heat pumps before the process started?
Not a thing. How much do I know about heat pumps afterwards? Very little more.
And it doesn't matter, because what matters is that it works.
It appears to work, yeah.
Okay.
Somebody explained it to me as if you can combine an inverted air conditioner with the condensation on the edge of your pint, then you really understand.
Well, now that's a great analogy for the ordinary person like me.
So I still don't know but it appears to work, yeah.
So tell me how it does work. What do you have to do with it? Does it keep the temperature constant? Do you have to turn it off? Do you have to turn it on? Or how does it manage it?
Well, I've had little practice because we're into the summer. How it works is a tiny control panel on the landing of the stairs. I set the temperature that I want to keep it at. It is now off for the summer months, so the only thing that's running is the hot water element of it.
Okay, Frank, so the heat pump would be the heart of the home now, the heart of this whole ticking system.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about it. How, is it intrusive? Is it noisy? Or does it just work away silently doing its thing?
No, it's very obtrusive. Like visually, there's a unit on above the kitchen, the flat roof in the kitchen, which seems to be the external guts of it. In what used to be my hot press, which is no longer a hot press, but kind of a storage area, is where the various tanks live. And then, as I say, the control panel for the mothership is all in the attic.
So it doesn't require much of you?
It requires very little. I thought I got a handbook that size in 13 languages. Essentially, all you need to do is be able to negotiate the little panel on the stairs. So there you can put your temperature up or down. But from the day it was put in, the internal temperature in this house has not budged 1 degree between 20 and 19. It goes up and down.
You don't have to maintain it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go checking out after it.
No, and I mean, I'm heading off for a few weeks' holidays after this. I just leave it at, say, 17. It's not going to go near 17. The other thing that surprises me is I leave every window slightly open, and even that doesn't affect the temperature. I mean, you're not getting a mad draft in or out of it. So yeah, it's very consistent. You
don't need a degree in engineering to have one. Is that what you're saying? Exactly. Well, that'll come as a relief then to lots of people. So they were able to work around your schedule, and you weren't waiting for ages and ages to get the work done. Frank, it must have been very expensive.
It was very expensive. I had a few bob in one investment fund. And I had, before I had done anything, I said, that's my outer budget. That's, if I can get it in under that, I'm happy. There was about 62 or 63 grand in that. The job came in priced at just south of, I think, about 85,000, with the promise of over 20,000 in grants. So it fitted like a glove to that extent. So that was the game changer for you then, being able to get the grant from the SEAI, because so many of the different elements are covered that you can get done. Now, what was your favourite upgrade, do you think? It's a combination. As I said, the windows, they actually look good as well as everything else. But that's beside the point. This is going to sound funny, but as I say, I'm in the house since 73, and it forced me to do a major overhaul of just about everything, because all the internal walls were wrapped internally. So it meant, one, I had to do a massive clear out of all the rubbish that had been accumulated. So generally the process of renewing the house was very welcome. And the other thing that I liked was part of the upgrade was renewal of the 2 flat roof sections, and like the old felt finishes, they only have a life of about 15 years at the best of times. So I'm with great confidence in what they've done over the flat roof. So in order to qualify then for the grants and bring your house up, you had gone from, tell me what your BER rating, this is the energy rating on your house, was and what it is now. Yeah, it went from G- to A3. Wow. Yeah. That's huge. It is, it's huge, yeah. And would you recommend other people to get it done? Oh yeah, without a doubt. I'm very pleased with it. come back to me after the winter, but I suspect it's going to work like a treat, you know.
Did you find that there was a big difference in getting the one-stop shop to do all the heavy lifting for you compared, say, to your neighbour's experience?
Yeah, I certainly didn't want to go down that road, and I felt I was in control of the process, even though they were doing the heavy lifting. So at each stage, they said, okay, this is what we need next, but we were taking care of the paperwork. So
now you're probably here for life now, you're probably not going to sell up, but do you think your house is worth a little bit more after getting all this done?
I know, for example, extensions and that don't realise their full value when they go on the market, but certainly it has enhanced the house. I feel the place has been kind of renewed in its totality, which gives me satisfaction.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Frank, thank you so much for inviting me to your home today. It certainly feels very cosy, and long may you live in it.
Thank you very much indeed. You're very welcome.